Let's talk about the invisible architecture that, well, holds our entire world together, biodiversity. It's this powerful, silent force that's constantly working in the background, cleaning our water, making the air we breathe, and really underpinning our very survival. This isn't just about saving animals in a faraway rainforest. It's about understanding the complex, beautiful operating system that allows us to live on this planet in the first place. So let's pull back the curtain and see how it works.
So let's just start with a really big question. What actually keeps our planet alive and stable? I mean, in a universe that's full of chaos, what is the one thing that provides resilience, keeps things productive, and supports all life? Well, the answer isn't some abstract cosmic force. It's actually woven into the fabric of every single living thing around us.
And that force is biodiversity. You can think of it as Earth's invisible engine. Or maybe an even better way to put it is that it's the planet's operating system just humming along quietly in the background, making everything else possible. Okay, so what is biodiversity really? It's so easy to just think of it as a long list of different animals and plants, but it is so much more than that. It's the variety of life at every single level, from the tiniest bit of genetic code inside an organism all the way up to the huge ecosystems they create together. It's like an incredibly intricate web where a fungus in the soil is just as critical to the system's health as a massive blue whale. It's all about balance, health, and ultimately survival. And here's the thing. Every single organism has a role to play, a specific job to do. Take a sea otter, for example. It's what we call a keystone species. Just by eating sea urchins, it keeps entire kelp forest healthy and thriving. Or think about a tiny bee. That one little insect is responsible for pollinating about a third of the food we eat. So when you take one of these key players out of the game, the whole system feels the pressure, and that beautiful web starts to unravel.
So if biodiversity is this giant global engine, what does it actually produce for you and me? Well, you could call the output a biodiversity dividend. These are the direct, life-sustaining benefits that we all get every single day, most of the time without even thinking about it.
A lot of these benefits are called ecosystem services, which is basically just a way of saying that nature is doing a ton of work for us, completely for free. I mean, think about it. The Catskill Mountains watershed provides New York City with clean drinking water. Protecting that natural ecosystem cost around $1.5 billion. Building a new water filtration plant to do the same job, the estimate was over $8 billion. That right there is the economic power of a healthy, biodiverse system. And then, of course, there's the stuff you can literally see and touch. The food on your plate, the wood that built your house, the cotton in the shirt you're wearing right now. It all comes from the incredible variety of life on our planet. Biodiversity provides the actual building blocks of our civilization, the raw materials for just about everything we make and use. But it's not just materials. Nature is also essentially the original pharmacy. Aspirin, it comes from willow bark. Penicillin, from a fungus. A really powerful anti-cancer drug called Taxol was discovered in the bark of the Pacific yew tree. So every time a species goes extinct, we might be losing the key to curing a future disease. It's like setting fire to a book in a library that can never, ever be replaced. And finally, think of biodiversity as nature's insurance policy. A diverse ecosystem is a strong and resilient one. It's better at handling shocks like climate change, and it can even help suppress diseases. In fact, some research points to something called a dilution effect, where having more species around can actually reduce the spread of viruses and bacteria. That kind of stability is absolutely vital for all of us. Okay, but what happens when that insurance policy gets stretched a little too thin? What happens when this incredibly fine-tuned balance starts to tip? Well, the consequences aren't just for the animals and plants, they hit us hard and fast. It's a chain reaction, like a set of dominoes falling. First, some of those key species disappear. You know, the otters, the bees. Then, the entire ecosystem they were a part of starts to get weaker, more fragile. And finally, those essential services we all depend on, like clean water and fertile soil, they start to become unreliable and then scarce. It's a cascade effect that has a direct impact on our lives. And let's be clear, these consequences are not theoretical. This is what happens when that insurance policy fails. Farmers face real crop losses because there aren't enough pollinators. That free water filtration service suddenly disappears, which can lead to shortages and even conflict. Weakened ecosystems can become breeding grounds for new diseases. And underneath it all is the finality of extinction, the permanent loss of a unique part of our world's operating system. Now, I know that sounds incredibly bleak, But the story isn't over, not by a long shot. Because understanding the problem and how things can go wrong is the very first step, and it leads us directly to our shared responsibility to actually do something about it. The situation really boils down to a clear balance of threats versus actions. The threats, well, they're pretty familiar. Pollution, destroying habitats, wasting resources. But the actions we can take are just as clear and, importantly, just as powerful. We can conserve wild spaces, we can reduce our own footprint, and we can use resources more wisely. The roadmap is there. It's really just a matter of choice. Look, it is so easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the problem and think, what can I possibly do? But the truth is, the solution is built from countless individual actions, all added together. A community deciding to protect a local wetland, a company changing how it sources its materials, a person just choosing to reduce their waste, it all adds up. Every positive choice helps strengthen that web of life. And this quote right here, it just gets to the absolute heart of the matter. This isn't some abstract environmental issue. As the source material says so clearly, protecting biodiversity is fundamentally about protecting ourselves and making sure there's a stable, healthy future for generations to come. In the end, it's an act of enlightened self-preservation. So we'll leave you with a final thought to mull over. We've talked about clean air, food, medicine, and the basic stability of our world. Of all those amazing benefits, which one do you think is the most vital to your life, personally? Because understanding that connection is really the key to protecting it all. Thanks for tuning in.